What's up, guys? In this video, I want to talk about why it's important to carefully choose the people that you surround yourself with. And if you have toxic people in your life, whether they are friends or family members or coworkers or employers or employees or significant others or whatever, people, individuals, human beings, and they're bringing you down, you need to get rid of them or minimize contact with them or make an effort or help them hopefully change and get on your side. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about that. But before I do, if you guys wanna know how to lose weight through fasting, approximately 10 pounds in 3 days, go to www.lose10in3days.com or click the link in the description. So let's talk about why it's important to carefully choose the people who you surround yourself with. Now, as human beings, there is no thought that is independent of language, right? Any thought that you think is thought through words. And most thoughts that individuals think on a daily basis are roughly about 95% the same, give or take. You're gonna think the same thoughts that you thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that with the sameness of about 95, 98, 99%. There's not going to be a lot of new thoughts there. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to think, okay, I got to do this, this, and this, and you're going to go to work, you're going to think the same thoughts at work. Before you get out of work, you're going to think, okay, I only have this much time. When you go eat, you're going to think, I want this, I want that. There's not a lot of variety there. Now, as a result, your life will begin to take a certain shape, let's call it, as a result of the thoughts that you think. So if you have certain priorities or certain beliefs that you have them, not if you have them. So we all have certain priorities or beliefs or attitudes that we have about different areas of our life. And those beliefs, let's call them, will cause us to behave in certain ways. And the aggregate of all of that behavior will give us an end result in certain areas of our life. All of these areas of our lives, it's like a Venn diagram, right? Where your level of fitness, for example, will affect your education, which will affect your employment, which will affect your personal relationships. And they're all kind of connected in various ways that are way too complex for anybody to understand in exact detail, but we can at least understand how they are all connected in some way. And when you change something over here, you will probably also change something over here. So what does this have to do with the types of people that you surround yourself with? Well, if your thoughts are dependent on words, then you have to also understand that it's not just the words that you think, it's the words that are exchanged between you and another person. So for example, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and the exact words that are coming out of their mouth are words that cause me to doubt myself and cause me to feel bad and cause me to lose confidence, then those words that they are speaking are going to affect my beliefs, my behaviors in various ways, which are going to affect the complex Venn diagram of my life. And fortunately for us, and the opposite is true, right? If you speak to somebody and your words cause them to feel inspired, to feel motivated, to get out there and change their life in some way, in some positive way, then those words that you have spoken will ideally lead them, to change their behaviors and their beliefs, which will change their Venn diagram in a positive way. Now, it's very important, for obvious reasons, why we need to carefully select the types of people who are in our lives. Because when you speak to somebody, right, you can close your eyes and not see them, but you can't really close your ears, right? That's why I believe words are so powerful, okay? You don't even have to be watching me right now when I'm in this video. I'm speaking, and unless you have your ears plugged or unless you turn the volume all the way down, my words are going to go in through your ears, they're going to get into your brain, and they're going to make you think certain things. For example, if I say, imagine that you're on the beach right now and you're looking out into the sea and you see the most beautiful blue skies that you've ever seen, and you hear the gentle lapping of the waves on the ocean, the seagull in the distance, and there's a woman laughing around you and she sounds like she's having the best time of her life, and you hear like a fun party with house music in the background, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I'm really glad that I made that decision to by some program, whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? As I was speaking just now, you probably were imagining the blue skies and the blue ocean and all of those other things, right? Your mind was working as I was talking. Now, if instead I said, or somebody else said, because obviously I would never say this, if somebody else said, man, it sure does suck. Like, it sucks that we're losers, huh? Like, I'll bet you probably didn't imagine that your life would be so shit when you got to this age. You know, all of these like inconsistencies that you have, you know, like I remember when we were younger, right? We totally imagined that we'd be famous celebrities. And now look at us, right? We're broke, we don't have any money, we have no prospects, nobody likes us, we don't have any friends. Like, oh, this is just fucking terrible, huh? Like I fucking hate my life. Imagine the difference between those two things. What's really the difference? Yeah, there's a little bit of tonality difference there and all that, but the real difference is the words that were selected to be used. And obviously, I'm not saying you need to be friends with a fucking hypnotist who talks about blue oceans and house music, but it's important to avoid people who talk negatively, right? We don't want to surround ourselves with people who will use words that cause us to think certain thoughts that make us doubt ourselves most of the time. Okay, so that's the basic level. Now, if we want to further specialize, right? Let's say we want a very specific result. People who are in certain groups, right? Well, different groups have different results, obviously, right? A group of, I don't know, people who make money online, make 6 figures a month, they probably have a series of words or a set of words, maybe even 100, 200, 300 words that they use on a regular basis. And this constant repetition of this specific variety of words or set of words is affecting their mind in a way that is making it easy for them to execute certain behaviors that are giving them the result that they want. Do you understand? And there's only the result that they have is specific to the words that they're using. So if you somehow were able to identify that group and join that group and learn what these words are. I'm not saying like you sit there and you write down like, oh, they use the word revenue, and they like, okay, that's maybe a good example of one of the words that they probably use, but I'm not saying you need to actively learn them. All you need to do is immerse yourself in the group where those words are being spoken on a regular basis and avoid the other group, the bad group, and you will naturally begin to resemble these people over here who are using the types of words that are giving them the result that they want. Okay, that's one example. Let's say you have another example of a group of people who are extremely fit, right? Who are in very good shape. Like let's take CrossFit, for example. Let's say this group of people who does CrossFit, they're using words like muscle up. They're using words like swing. They're using words like AMRAP. They're using words like paleo. They're using phrases like avoiding sugar and eating a great meal of chicken and rice or whatever, right? And let's imagine there's 500 words or phrases that are like that. If you join this group and you're constantly surrounded with those types of words and they're penetrating your consciousness and making you think certain things, and most importantly, when you're thinking certain things, right, you can only think one thought at a time, right? That's one of the nice things, I guess, nice limitations about the human mind is we can only think one thought at a time, which is why affirmations got so popular back in the 80s and 90s or 70s maybe, where if you could only think one thought at a time and you could choose a sentence or a phrase or a paragraph to repeat to yourself over and over, that would ideally begin to saturate your consciousness, and when you eventually repeated it enough times, you would begin to believe it, right? So for example, if you thought to yourself, I don't know, you guys have heard the old affirmations, right? Like, I love my life, you know, you think like, I love my life, I love my life, right? So like very old school Tony Robbins stuff, but it's still true, right? You can still only think one thought at a time. And whether that thought comes from you repeating an affirmation or whether that thought comes from a productive group that is speaking words that will actively enable you to achieve what that group has achieved, or whether that thought or those words are coming from a family member who is toxic or a friend who is toxic, it doesn't really matter because you can still only think that one thought at a time. So that's why it's very important to carefully choose the people, specific people that you surround yourself with. or the groups of people that you surround yourself with, or the communities that you become a part of. Because it's very tempting for us, everybody, right? Like, it's a lot more, it's very comforting to be friends with somebody who is not doing so well, right? It's very comforting, right? I'm sure we all have like a friend who's just not doing well. They're depressed. They're not where they want to be in life. And we kind of like, not that we enjoy hearing them complain, but it's a little comforting for us to hear that they're not doing so well, because we compare ourselves to them. We think to ourselves, well, at least I'm not as bad as that guy, right? But unless, like, at the end of the day, here's what it comes down to, right? You need to be cutthroat. You need to be very strict with the types of people that you put yourself around. I believe, right? I think words are very important. And if you are allowing other people to speak words that, like I said, cause you to doubt yourself, or you're allowing them to choose from sets of words that are ultimately bringing them down, and they're speaking those words in your presence, guess what? They're going to bring you down too. And unless you draw clear boundaries and you say to them, I don't like when you talk like that, it brings me down. For example, if they make a stink, they say, well, I'm just expressing myself, or that's how it is, or don't judge me, or why are you always so mean to me? Yeah, well, guess what? You got to make a hard decision, and you have to limit your exposure to them if you are that committed to getting whatever it is that you want. So with fitness, for example, right? What are some good words to use on a regular basis? How about, for example, working out hard, or like, I love working out, or like, I love going to the gym, or, processed food makes me feel sick, or there's nothing that tastes better than a steak, or I never cook with vegetable oil, or I only eat natural food, or, anyway, you get the idea, right? You make a list. You don't have to actually make a list, but you just have to surround yourself with people who are speaking words or phrases that are, that describe the types of behaviors or attitudes that you want to have towards certain things, which will help you achieve the desired result, if that makes sense. I don't know if it did, but if it did, make sure you like the video. Also, any and all comments are appreciated, as they do help the algorithm. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please click that subscribe button. And if you want a free guide on how to lose 10 pounds in just a few days through fasting, go to www.lose10in3days.com, or just click the link in the description. Peace.